Hello, good evening, welcome to another episode of Easy8's Online Painting Club. My name is Danny, and for the next 2 hours I'm going to be sitting here painting my miniatures live, while you guys hopefully are inspired to do the same, for this is just an online painting club. There's no tutorial or anything like that, because there's loads of that already out there. This is merely a place where a guy struggles to find the time to be good, sometimes to not be good at painting their own stuff and just getting through the hordes of grey that are mounting up all over the place. Which I'm sure everyone is exactly the same, because everybody who enjoys this hobby has just got mountains of stuff completely unpainted, bare grey plastic all over the place, and this is the quintessential place where you can come along and get some colour on your grey. Now, I have to make a humble apology, my sincerest apologies for last week's last minute, last second, right to the line cancellation of the show. Family comes first. It always does. This show's just a bit of fun. And I do love it. It is fun. And everything is fine. Everything was fine, is fine. It's just needed to bring everything into the middle, shut out the external factors, and just spend some time with the family. Everything is fine. Thank you so much to everybody who genuinely reached out their hearts, because I just got personal messages coming in left, right and centre from the whole community, and there was literally no hard feelings at all for the last minute cancellation. I know the show's a bit crappy. It's just a dude in an attic of his house bringing people together, but it clearly is special to a lot of people, and you guys always make the time to put it in your diary and come along almost religiously, and I really value that. I really honestly do, and it meant the world to me that you guys all reached out so much, because it shows how much value this place has to people. That was genuinely emotional. Anyway, look, we're back on track. We're back here. It feels like I haven't been in the studio for a fortnight. I've been in the house. I've just not really been here. And it's really cold, and it feels weird sitting back in here again. It feels good to sit down and do some painting. You will notice a little bit that I've got a bit of a shadow on my face. It's really distracting. I've had to raise everything up today, the lighting and everything, and I basically got my main light just over there. It's kind of casting a bit of a shadow on my face. It's a bit distracting. Because the project that we're doing today is a little bit larger. It's not really a miniature. It is, but it's a McFarlane Space Marine, so you can see it here. Like it's big. So to make sure that it fits in frame, I've had to lift the camera up a little bit. So yeah, there's going to be some shadows on my face. Soz, if you're new here and you just haven't done it so far, please do consider subscribing to the show. The subscribers are what make the show grow. You are the subscribers. You are the show. It's here for you. It's a club. It brings people together. It's nothing special. It's just uniting people who have a passion, similar interests in the hobby, or just similar hobbies, or just fancy getting together and talking to people that are nice. Because that's one thing that this community is. If anything like last week has shown me, this community is just really nice. So, yeah, subscribe. If you know someone who you think might benefit from the show, bring them along. Tell them to subscribe. We've got a really high number of subscribers lately, and I just want to see it grow and grow and grow. So share it, get it out there, subscribe, hit the little bell icon, because sometimes I do go live at random times. Not all the time, very rarely, but sometimes I do. And if you hit the bell icon, it'll tell you when that's going to happen. Who knows? Like last week, I was going to do like a little show on the Saturday after the Friday, but, you know, I still needed to stick around and do some stuff. So, yeah, hit the bell icon, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. In fact, you know what? I'll give you a couple of seconds. You just go hit that thumbs up button now, and I'm going to sip my tea, which has just come out of the kettle, so, you know, burns and stuff. You hit that thumbs up button, go on. Oh no, it's okay. Thanks very much. Yeah, subscribe. It would really make my day. It fills me with joy when you hit subscribe. Forgot what I was going to say. Who we got in the live chat? Oh, it's been a while since I've been in the show, isn't it? We've got Table of Horrors. That's Shiv. Evening all. Hi, Shiv. How you doing, pal? We've got Kez. Hi, Kez. We've got Jeff. That's my dad. Hi, Dad. How you doing? Haven't seen you for a little while. I'll pop down and see you tomorrow, mate. How's it going? We've also got Crumbs. Hi, Crumbs. And Christulus as well. We've also got Adrian. Did I say Adrian? I saw Adrian in there a minute ago. There's Adrian. I see you. I hope you guys are all well. Thank you so much for being so patient with me last week and just showing, you know, excellent characteristics. Because you could have been like, hey, man, where's my show? And I would have been like, I don't know. Yeah, cool. Here we are. So, if you're working on a project this evening, I genuinely would like to know about it. So come and tell us all about it in the live chat over here with all of these people that are chatting live today. Or if you want to, we're not just here on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on Discord as well, where I'll be at the end of the show, and you can join me at the Easy 8 after party on Discord. All the links to all of our platforms are all down there, so go and check them out. Along with a whole host of really cool people, vendors, traders, service providers, printers, painters, just cool people who do really cool things in the hobby, and you should check them out. But not right now. Stay here to do some painting, please. And I genuinely would like to see your stuff. So if you're taking pictures of it, stick them up on Facebook or on Discord so that we can see it, because photos or it never happened, right? Right? Cool. Can we tell us all about it? Because I'm genuinely inspired. Anyway, let's go to the workbench. Here we are at the workbench. So, I've done a good. I've got some clean paint water. I had a quick check of the airbrush because I couldn't remember if I cleaned it out, and we all know what I'm like. It's clean and running really well at the moment. Well, I haven't put any paint through it yet, but it seemed to be running smooth, like all the parts moved in it. As you can see that I've done some painting on this thing already. I've got my big block of polished iron and everything's stuck with skewers on it that are all super glued in place. This is the bolt rifle, because it's a Primaris Marine. And yeah, I've just been having some fun doing it. Now, I don't know what I'm doing on this project. I'm literally firing from the hip. I'm just having fun. I'm gonna make mistakes left, right, and centre. Scream at me, shout at me, send me advice, send me ideas and some suggestions, because I'm gonna need it along the way. I don't necessarily want to spend years and years on this project because it's such a new thing. It's not really a miniature, is it? It's taken a mini out of miniature, this. And I'm just going to have some fun with it and make it look pretty. Now, you can see that it is all dark green. It took a long time to get the brightness out of it because I've been using essentially what is Dark Angel's green, you know, the Caliban green or whatever it is from GW. But I've been using it in the Vallejo version, and this one's just called a dark green, funnily enough. And it is pretty much essentially the same paints, the same colour anyway. I primed it black, everything black, and then I just did layer and layer and layer of that dark green all over it. And even though I could see the green, it still looked very, very black. So gradually, little bit by little bit, as you can see on a lot of these pieces, it gets brighter on these raised surfaces. I did a very, very basic zenithal highlighting on each of the individual pieces. It's not like the whole, I'm going to call it a miniature for argument's sake, but it's not like the whole miniature was built and then I did a zenithal on that. So various parts of the miniature would cast shadows over it. So like the chest or the torso, for example, would cast a shadow over the top of the thighs. I've just zenithally highlighted each part. And it looks quite pretty. And the way that I've done that is by adding very, very fine layers of white ink through the airbrush and sprayed it in a direction and on a location that looks appropriate. And then I go over, let that dry obviously, and then I go over a very thin layer of the dark green, and that white behind it is brightening it up. And I think I want to do one more round of that just to really bring that green out one more time. So I think I might give it like a really thin layer, almost all over it. Not all over it per se, but if we look at the backpack here, for example, the main brightness is here in this zone here. So what I'm thinking is if I just kind of did a distant cone shot, or sort of over the wider area, hit it with a Dark Angel's green again. These bits will remain brighter because they've already been done, and yeah, you'll get a little bit of brightness in the back there as well. Just realised I've still got a little bit of my burrito on my finger, and that's very embarrassing. I just had dinner. I'm so sorry. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I've stripped it all down into component parts at the moment. But it's not very far from being put back together. I'm not going to do all the high detail all over it in this state. I want to get the base paint colour done and then rebuild it. I got that idea from almost every single video on YouTube of other people doing them. They do it to a degree, rebuild it, and then they paint it almost as a whole. So I'm going to follow in their wisdom and do the same thing. There are a lot of enhanced details on a model this scale, so they've added in things or enhanced things on it that you wouldn't necessarily get on a standard 32mm miniature. Maybe you do, maybe you just haven't looked at them close enough. For example, there's a lot more detail and attention spent to the bits that aren't actually armour. So if we look on the chest piece here, we can see like all the ribbing around the sides, and often that's done in black in a lot of the videos or images or other things that you'll see on the internet. And I quite like the idea that there's a supple undersuit, almost like the RoboCop suit. You could argue that the whole thing is supposed to be metal, but we know that there's a man inside it, so everything that isn't silver on RoboCop is black, and it looks like it might be rubbery because it is rubber. But is it flexible? Probably it is. So I kind of wanted to emulate that. Now I don't want to use black directly. I'm going to use one of my favourite greys, my very, very dark grey, which is never in the location that I want it when I want to pull it out. Corvus Black. It's a really, really... Oh, just throw it on the model, why don't you? Now it's stuck in there. There we go. Corvus Black is a really, really good colour for doing things like tyres and things like that. It's amazing. There is a couple of other colours that are quite close to it. Eshin Grey is like the next tone down. This colour is brilliant. And then I was going to do like a black ink in between all the details and all the ribs and things like that. And on every piece, there is like it behind the knees. You can see it in the hips up here. You can see that there's ribbing all over it. So I think that's going to make it look really quite cool. Now, here's the big deal. And this is a little bit sad in some ways, is that because it's essentially a toy, you could argue that all the miniatures are toys really, aren't they, it's an action figure, so it's posable, is that I could I've tried to keep him in the pose that I want him to, especially with the arms, that I want him to be, and I'm going to have to reposition him when I put him all together. He's not going to be glued into place, although I could argue that I should glue it, but I'm not going to. But as things start to move around, bits of paint are going to wear off. It's going to happen. Hopefully, it only happens in the places that are... I've just seen Shiv's comment. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's ribbing all over it. It's a Friday. Hopefully, it'll only happen in the areas that are grey, because I think that to touch those areas up, I think it would take much less effort rather than say it was on one of the highlighted green areas. When it comes to the bolt rifle... there's obviously two very stark tones here. There is the silver and then there is the red, and I'm going to stain the red down and make it look like it's weathered and worn or whatever. It needs a couple more layers. I sprayed the whole thing silver, and I did that with my really cool metallic colours from Vallejo, like the proper posh ones with the glossy undercoat. And because of the type of plastic it is, it has a bit of a weird finish. You can see that it's not super smooth like on the metal bits here. See that there? So it hasn't got that high quality finish that this silver would normally have, but it is still better than the random silvers that you get. I see that the average silvers. So there's that to it. And then I hand painted the red all over it. Red's a low pigment paint, so it took about 6 million layers to get this far. Well, not even this far. I had to airbrush it, and I airbrushed it as gently as I could, but there are a couple of spots of overspray, so there's going to be a lot of neatening up. And this is pretty much going to be an afterthought, really. My main focus is on the marine itself. But of course, what I'm not able to do here so well is the Zenithal thing. So maybe there's some thoughts on it later on. Maybe I'll just paint it, make it look nice, and slap it on there and be done with it and be happy with it. Yeah, chonky. This handle does not fit in the guy's hand very well at all, and I'm probably going to end up carving up lots of paint off of this. So the idea is just to rest it as best as I can in his hand, stick him up on the shelf, be done with it. And that's that. I've also got a Necron flayed one to do like this, but that's for another day, isn't it? Oh, loads of comments going in. Staff has joined us as well. Hi, Staff. Loitering in the background while packing. I'm off for a weekend out with the Scouts in the morning. I hope you have a great time, mate, but thanks for coming along and joining in anyway. Christoulis says, no painting for me today, but tomorrow I'm painting in person with the two people who I originally learned to paint with 6 years ago, so I'm excited. Hey, that sounds really cool. Little trip down nostalgia lane there, perhaps. Going back too far there, I think. Kez says is working on more Battletech. What mechs, please, Kez? I love all your mechs, mate. They're looking really good, by the way. Working on a second Dominion Zephon to compare to last year, says Shiv. What? Can you explain a little bit more about what that is, please? Because I'm sure you've told me in the past, but my memory is not serving me well. Christoulis. Oh, that's a big boy, Danny. How many points does that cost a field? All of them. All of your points. All your points belong to us. Waiting to do a test print before moving forward. Need to arrange with my brother to teach me, but he's very busy, says Kez. Oh, that's in reference to the printer that you've got. Yeah, lovely, lovely. Clears the throat for the Empress. Can we say ribbing? Well, we've said it a lot today, haven't we? Steve has joined us. Hi, Steve. Hello. Shouting there from the sidelines. How you doing, pal? It's been a while since I caught up with you as well. I hope you're doing well. Steve recently acquired a welder and has been practicing some welding and sent me some pictures recently. And it's all looking good for the first time ever. How is that coming along, Steve? Is it doing well? Are you doing well? Is it doing well? Is it going well? Is my English good? Anyway, let's get started on this. Now, I'm going to basically just pick my way through this bit by bit. And I'm going to be airbrushing a lot. And then maybe not so much. It's not really a set of sentences I've thought out very well. Alright, what's going on here? Right, I'm going to need a space to put this. That'll do. I'm going to not do this one first, even though it's quite big and chunky. I think I just start with a simple shoulder pad. These are what I started with originally. They're just simple, basic things to start with. I feel like I've got too much canvas space now. Everything needs a bit of a dusting because it's been a little while. It's a couple of weeks, isn't it? So just a soft but rigid brush. Gentle on the skin, but it's got a bit of flick to it. Really helps get rid of that surface layer of dust. And my house is just full of cat hair because I've got cats who just don't like to be groomed at all. I'm just going to see if I can change the facing of the camera a little bit because no, it's not going to change there. We're at maximum outwards zoom, minimum zoom. Yeah, that's the one. Cool. I was going to see if I could lower it down. It means I've got to hold my hand up here a little bit. I've got so much space now. I had all the big stuff out and now I've got like my hands in this tiny little area. I'm going to zoom in a little bit for now. Here we go. More? That's as far as we're going by the looks of it. Okay, cool. Rightio. So, let me get myself a painting sheet down. This painting sheet here has been used far too much. Just turn it over because they're double-sided. Just a little thing to paint. I don't like to spray directly onto the cutting mat in the background. I'm just not one of those guys, but some people do, and that is absolutely fine. Right. That over there. I'm going to mix up a little bit of white acrylic ink. Not in that one. That needs a bit of a clean. In that one, that'll be fine. There we are. Again, I'm going to give that a bit of a clean out. Don't want any contaminants to go in there. Okie dokie. As far as I'm aware, there are two main brands of acrylic ink. There's Liquitex and there is, I think, is it Daler-Rowney? I like Liquitex. I haven't tried the Daler-Rowney one. But a lot of people say that they are very, very similar. And it's all about personal preference, really. So I bought Liquitex because it was a brand that I associated with quality. I know that Daler-Rowney stuff is as well. But I associated this with quality from other things that I've seen and experienced. So that's why I'm playing with Liquitex. I put a couple of agitator balls in there. You can hear it when I'm shaking it around. Dominion Zephon is a special heresy era Blood Angels character with a lot of cybernetic limbs and a big old sword. Cool. Photos, please. I need to work on it, says Steve. Lots of spatter and poor technique, I feel. Practice makes perfect. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice is the pursuit of perfection. And perfection should never be achieved, because once you've achieved perfection, well, you're probably getting lazy. You've probably lowered the bar a little bit in terms of your own ability. You should always strive for perfection, and it's the pursuit of it that I think is the fun bit. I'm sure there's a Miley Cyrus quote in there somewhere saying about the journey being the best part anyway. Steve is on you guys. I see 10 people watching and only 8 likes. Who needs to be punished? Thanks, Steve. Keeping the community on their toes there. Oh, I'm going to put in... Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to put in 3 drops of this. Am I? Yeah, why not? Done. The only mech that I am painting is the Emir. The rest are vehicles. Oh, that's exciting stuff. A little bit of a change from the regular routine, isn't it? Nice. Not going to honour that with a reply, Shiv. I'm really not. Need some thinner. Where is my thinner? Oh, crikey. Oh, there it is. There's my thinner. Had a bit of a desk tidy and I couldn't find out where anything was. Okie dokie. So I put in 3 drops of that. So if I put in at least 3 drops of that, I'm going to put in 6. There we go. I want it to be quite thin. I want it to go on. It is an opaque ink, and I want it to go on quite thin. So really break it down with some thinner there. It will come out really quite quickly, I think. I want to really atomize it, so I might even put a bit more thinner here. Just a couple more drops. 2 to 1 right now. Almost to a 3 to 1. See how that behaves. Yeah, that's a bit better. You want to go too thin with it. To attract a bit of dust again. Make sure they come in there with that brush. There we go. Just stuff floating around in the air, and it'll settle on things, especially if they're static. Oh, I've done that thing where I put my paintbrush in the water, and actually I still needed it to scoop paint out of the little tray there. Here we go. I hope I've got this consistency right. It's been a little while since I was playing around with it on this marine. Really quite runny. Really quite. My English good it is. Excellent. Right, let's pop that over there. Get that tank over there as well. And let's get that airline in. Okay. Bit of a flow test. I'm going to make sure the nozzle's on tight this time, because the last time I did a flow test I splurted. Okay, that is very light touch, and you can, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but I'm spraying it right there to the black, and you can see that is coming out quite strong, but also quite runny. So really gentle. I wonder if you can see the whiteness on here now. Whenever I bring out a big white piece of paper, the lighting always dips on my camera and on my screen. It's quite hard to see. I pull that away. There we go. You can see that. I can't get it to balance that. Whatevs. Basically need a better camera. There we go. I think that's literally where it's going to be. I'm just going to leave it like that for now. So, to the next shoulder pad. This one here's got a bit of detailing on it, obviously. Again, just a flow test, just to make sure there's no drying on the nozzle, but also just to make sure that I'm consistent with my trigger. Oh, do you know what I haven't done? Dusting. Now, the actual motif there is going to be... Is that the right word, motif? Is motif down to letters and insignia? Is that a motif? The image that you see there is going to be painted in like metallic colours later on, so it's going to stand out from the greeny background, so it doesn't really matter necessarily about the highlighting behind it, although I could use that to my advantage by doing glazes over the top of it, I suppose. There we can see that there's some white going on there now, isn't there? I can see some conversations going in there about welding. Crumb says, Shiv punished by waiting for scale 75 paints to turn up in the mail. There's so much of that, yeah. I hear this a lot, like people waiting and waiting for their scale 75 paints. Do they come from a foreign country? I don't know much about them. Here's his head. He's quite well highlighted on here. But I want a little bit more. So, yeah. Quite white there. That's going to go really, really green. Really green. From Spain. Oh, I see. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with getting stuff in from Spain. You've ordered stuff from Green Stuff World as well. Their customs takes a little while, doesn't it? Okay, I'm going to move on to the backpack here. I like the backpack. It's a really chunky piece of miniature. I did spend a long time as well going over all the mould lines because, you know, even though this is a toy, not a miniature model, the mould lines are still a thing. It's made in a very similar, if not the same way. But because it's a very different type of plastic, it's not the same sort of thing as you'd expect from working with a miniature. The plastic that they use behaves differently when you're trying to trim it, shave it, file it, whatever. And I did all of those. Very hard to neaten up, so this is as good as I could get it really, without going OTT. Little spattery dots there, but I'm not really fussed about that. Might make a nice effect. Trick is to go real short bursts and then like a little tap, almost like tapping the anvil to get any kind of spatter off of your blacksmith's hammer or something. Just do a couple of little taps over here, a couple of little taps over there, just to kind of get any build up of the nozzle. Because it's so fine, there is a little bit of build up in there and it will spatter onto the model. Okay. The Space Marine pants. It's that time. For my American counterparts, underpants. Speedos. Budgie smugglers. Now this is where I took some liberties with the zenithal highlighting, of course, because this is all going to be underneath his undercarriage, but I still took the opportunity to highlight his codpiece. And on these plates on the side here, which are commonly called cuisse, I highlighted the middle part and left the outside bits a little bit darker, just for some cool effects, really. If I pull that white piece of paper away again, you should be able to see it better. Go. I like it. Dusting off the old jewellery. Giggity. I need to get this printed in negative on black paper, don't I really? Don't have a printer anymore. So I'm going down in lines on the side of this crease here. Ah, there you go. That's a perfect line made there. Oh, lush. Maybe a bit too perfect. Feather out the sides a little bit so it doesn't look so stark. Excellent. That went really well. Okay, this one's a bit more tricky because it's got some guff in the middle there. Look. I'm going to go up a little bit on this one. Yeah, that's better. Side there and up underneath the pouches. That. Same here. I'm not going to get too much highlighting behind the grenades here. Really dark on my screen. I hope it's not too dark on yours. I'm going to try and not get any highlighting behind the grenades. I want them to cast some shadow. And that's an interesting thing to talk about actually, is shadow. Because this is such a large model, it's going to be casting its own very easy to see natural shadows. So I don't need to like make them artificial. It will do it itself. Excellent. Legs. Now these are actually quite heavy bits, so sometimes the skewers break because there are tiny little holes underneath the feet which are designed to put in little bases, little stands for them to sit on. I'm going to be honest with you, McFarlane, they're awful. Sort it out. And those holes are quite shallow. I did drill them out a little bit to shove these sticks in and they keep on snapping. So I've got to hold them up quite high so there's no like lever forces being pulled on them. So holding it like that seems to work. But because it's quite dry at the moment, well, it is perfectly dry, I can hold it with my hands. Nice to be able to have it, hold the whole thing free, hence the stick in there. Some comments going in. Comes from Spain, along with Green Stuff World. Could you do your Necron Flayer one in Synthwave? Well, I wasn't gonna, but that deserves some thought, doesn't it? Okay. Project for another day, isn't it? I've got so many projects. So many projects. Right. Here, basically, big, bold surfaces. Down the side of the leg, on the top of the leg over here, down in front of the knee pad and shin on top of the foot, and then down the side here on this big ankle thing, because ankles in the 41st millennium need protecting. Again, like literally, I was just taking liberties with all the rendering. On the inside of the thigh here, almost black. And a little bit down the back of the leg there as well, just because it looked chunky. That was literally my decision for it. Just looked chunky. Gonna do the top of the inside of the knee pad there. The darkness is really starting to bother me a little bit. If I hold it like that, does that look so dark that you can barely see the detail on it? Because I know that this monitor does lie to me. When I watch it back on a replay, it's much easier to see. But my way of monitoring at the moment is actually it looks quite different. Does that look almost black, or can you see detail here? Please let me know. Oh, I have run out. Okay, so maybe I watered it down a little too much. Let's just go with a 2-to-1 ratio for now. See what happens. Jeff says, rum time. I've just got my good old tea. My mat always sticks to my little coaster, always sticks to my mug. Yum, yum, yum. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got to be really careful with the dropper bottle for the airbrush donor, because it's not the same as the paint ones, and obviously it's really, really watery, so it just goes everywhere if you're not careful. Alright then, Bovril. Positive synthwave colours with black edge highlighting, or negative black with coloured edge highlighting. I don't. Let me see if I can work it out in my head. I don't know if I like the dark lighting one. Yeah, there's so many different styles to explore, isn't there? I really like the classic like non-metallic metallic, but where they paint like the horizon line into it. So you've got like the landscape and the sky, but then you've got the horizon. It's like blue and browny orange. I love that. It makes it look like it's cold steel. It always reminds me of that Microsoft Word art font. You know the one I'm talking. Connoisseurs of Microsoft Word art will know. Did my very first ever digital assignment in IT. in not all of it in that font, but my headers were all in that font. ASCII art. Is the liquor gone, Danny? I mean, I haven't started on any liquor yet. I'm just on tea. That's all it is. Where can I see some negative synthwave stuff that sounds really cool? If you watch Heresy for Heretics, the YouTube channel, the guy does a lot of shorts on there. He does some quick one-off duels, so like he gets a model against a model and rolls the dice based on their stat lines and see who comes up trumps. That's quite good fun. And then he does his own little shorts on painting, and the guy really is into synthwave, and he paints everything in synthwave, and he does positive and negative ones as well. Really worth checking him out, because the guy's really laid back. Just trying to get a little bit on the inside of that kneecap, just on the top there, because it will catch some light. And basically the reason I'm doing this is because I want the green to show out. I want it to show off a little bit more. That's all. Just having fun with it. Can sometimes get so waylaid, so focused on a particular thing that we often forget to have fun painting for the sake of painting. It has to look this way. I've seen this guy do this thing and it has to look this way, and have fun. Put some paint on something, get some colour on your grey and enjoy the process. And just by doing lots and lots, even if it's not very good, and it will be, that process makes you better, because you're just doing lots. Not too much highlighting on the back, but a little bit, I suppose. It's all going rather smoothly. Onto the arms, I think, is the final thing to do apart from the torso. Now, I've tried to keep these in a position that will be best when he's holding his gun, because I want him in the two-handed, one supporting underneath the stock grip, and under the hand grip, and then the other one on the handle itself. But it will take a lot of effort to get these things pushed back into place, these little pop nugget things here. And yeah, I'm gonna end up knocking paint off all over the place. I'm probably gonna have sweaty palms trying to push things back into place. Paint's gonna rub off. I'm gonna end up moving things out of line. I've just got to go for it, and just hopefully it goes together really well. You can soak them in hot water to supple up the rubber and things pull out a little bit easier. But obviously, once I've painted it, I can't really soak it in hot water, right? Or can I? Not really explored that option. It just seems like a stupid thing to do. Okay. Varnish first? Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to give it a big old coat of varnish. Makes a lot of sense. You're absolutely right, for sure. Here's the thing as well, is that there are lots of joints in lots of different places. So on an elbow, it's got 2 joints, which if you're an armourer or a medieval reenactor, you'll know that that's really good. But obviously it means that when you bend things, you're going to have lots of marks coming out. So you can see there's like a little line under there where it's not, paint's not good, managed to get underneath. And yeah, it's just, hopefully that stays hidden. Otherwise, all I have to do is get some black paint and just fill that in. And then I could go over with, the green paint afterwards, but it's all going to be hand brush touching up and whatever. Bit of a nuisance, really. Oh, threw it on the ground. Trying to soften up those edges a little bit where it spills over around the sides. So I'll put in a big thick white line and just try to soften and feather that out. Right, the last piece. The torso. Lots going on here. There are lots of joints. There is a joint inside here, so this is the belly piece, and that moves independently from the torso, which is really cool. There's this piece here, which is basically the pelvis. The pants, if you like, will fit onto this, and then the legs fit into there. And this has a little bit of mobility too. You can sort of turn around and things, and spin and tilt and whatever. I hold this by these pieces. We've also got the neck, with this little bobblehead in here kind of moves around it, and that's what the head goes onto. But also there is the collar on the inside, and that does have a little bit of rockiness in there as well. See that moving in there? That's cool, right? So yeah. Oi Danny, where's my Panzerfaust, says Steve. It's coming, pal. It's coming. Just had a bit of a busy week. But yeah, If you think that I didn't get you a Panzerfaust when you asked for one, you're very much mistaken. Please expect military-grade hardware to be turning up on your doorstep soon. Right. A little bit of highlighting here, mostly down the front, because that's what we're looking at. Backpack's going to go on anyway. Under here is all going to stay dark. So this panel here, this square bit, will stay green, but all this ribbing will go grey. And then these panels here will stay green, so there'll be some nice contrast of colours there as well. Break up the monotony of green. Everybody's happy. And I'm going to paint all the grey bits as well. And I'll probably do all the panel lining on those grey bits, and then I'll varnish it and put it back together. And then do I want to do all the panel lining before I put it together or afterwards? I'm going to do all the panel lining on the green once I've put it together, and then I can do weathering and details. Details then weathering? Details then weathering. Welding is really fun, by the way, even though I currently suck at it. Would recommend. Yeah, I've had to go at welding in the past a long time ago. I had fun doing it. I was awful. I didn't really have much desire to pursue it. But I had to go. I was absolutely dire at it. Like, I had some terrible times. I only did MIG welding. But it certainly is a skill. I've just found a little bite on my arm. I've been out in the wilds again. Ooh. Last piece to get some highlighting then. Here we go. How much have I got left in the hopper? I've got quite a bit left in there. The behaviour of this batch of paint has been almost identical to the last batch, but it's lasted much longer. So by adding those extra couple of drops of thinner in earlier, when I did like an 8 to 3, made it run out that much faster. But doing a 6 to 3, so like a 2 to 1, just meant that it seems to have lasted a bit longer. A bit of a highlight across that gorget, went a bit heavy there, but that's okay. Not like I'm not going to come over it with some green in a bit. I think I'm done. Okay. Shame to waste the last of the paint, but it needs to go, so let's just get rid of that. Lots of aerosol paint there. I need some water. There it is. I can vouch for Danny, he doth speak of the truth. Foxhole Games. Are men and boys suffering from a mental health crisis? Seems Warhammer gets touted as therapeutic. Well, I love painting. It doesn't matter what it is that I'm painting. I find it therapy. I love it. Love coming here with you guys. But I also find playing games therapeutic. I haven't played Warhammer in a long while. I just like collecting all the stuff. I really enjoy it. So, yeah. And I am one walking mental health crisis. So, yeah, I could do with a therapy. I can focus the mind and bring people together. Plus, you can get behind your faction and really live and breathe the lore. Yeah, I love all of that. I was just actually hanging out with some of my friends on Wednesday, and we are still telling the same stories in tournaments, friendly tournaments that we played years ago. Those little narratives stay with us, and that's why I do it. You're kind of writing your own little stories, you know. I love it. Wonderful. We don't suffer from our mental crisis. We enjoy it. Yeah, alright. My partner always tries to joke around and go like, "Oh, you're going to go play with your toys again?" I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, if you think you're going to upset me by calling them toys, you're very much mistaken. They're toys. I play with them. I love it. Okie dokie. Right, so that is the green paint. Sorry, the white ink taken care of. In a minute, I'm going to come in with some Caliban. It's not Caliban green. It is just Vallejo's dark green, and just I'm not even going to thin it down. Really, just going to do some light dusting over the top of it, and let the brightness of the white shine through. We should get some really nice rendering effects coming through. That's what I'm looking forward to in a second. I'm just trying to get rid of some of the harder build-up stuff. Side of the hopper there just kind of dries a bit thick on the inside. Can you see it down there? If that comes off, which is unlikely, if it comes off while I'm spraying, it'll block things. So get myself a little cotton bud. Get rid of that for a minute because it's just changing the brightness, isn't it? I get a little bit of cleaner. Where's my cleaner? The 50-50, so that's just water in cleaner. Just makes your cleaner go that little bit further. Put a couple of drops on that. Really like to make sure that every drop of all of my resources goes a really long way, and I'll overuse these as well, so I won't just like use it once, chuck it away. I've got a pack of 300 of them. I've had them for about 2.5 years, and I've barely touched the surface of them. I don't like waste. Right, I'm an environment guy as well, so these aren't the plastic ones. Bamboo. See, we've got a bit of a conversation going on here about, like the mental health and wellness of hobbies and stuff being discussed in the live chat there. And one of the things that I'd never considered about Easy 8 is what it would do for people in terms of their well-being. And I made Easy 8 during COVID. I've told this story sometimes, many times before, but for your benefit, I did it during COVID to allow myself to connect with my friends and beyond into painting, because we weren't allowed to go and see each other here in the UK. I think probably across the rest of the world it was very, very similar. We were very, very stuck in a lockdown, and I made it. If you go back to episode 1 through 50, it was awful, but it was really successful. And for that first season, that first year, I thought, well, this is probably it now. We're out of lockdown, we're going back to work. I was going back to work in April, and all was good, and I was like, right, okay, maybe this is where it comes to an end. And I just got messages after messages after messages going, please don't, I need this is really good. And me and Kyle, my co-host, who was on a few weeks ago, we were like, we're helping people. So yeah, there is a massive mental health thing here, and it might be that you just don't get the time because you've got a family, or because you work a lot like I do. It could be that you're a carer at home, or you just don't get much time. Maybe you've moved recently across the country, or you've changed jobs like I did. A lot of the people who I'm working with now, they've moved from like hundreds of miles away. This is the first time they've left home, and connecting with like-minded people when you might be in a completely new surrounding. This is valuable. This is what we do. This brings people together. If this is your passion, find your people. And it's not so easy when you're in a physical location surrounded by people who aren't. So you could always connect to the people that you want to on the internet, and that is a glorious. We always slate the internet for it bringing sleaze and scum to people's lives, because it has that aspect, let's be honest. But this is beautiful. not easy 8. I mean, easy 8's tacky and shiny on the edges, but when you peel back the first layer, it's just a guy in his loft. But what we're doing here is great. So yeah, going out and finding those people at your local friendly gaming store to find those communities, those networks, those gaming clubs, those painting groups or whatever. Do it. Go find people, make some friends, make some stories, make some memories, because hobbies are what are people's interests and their passions. So link up and do it. Rock on. So there we go. Yeah, now you have it. Push the button, Danny. The buttons aren't working. Okay, cool. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. There was probably a big block of text going in there in the live chat. My buttons weren't working. They were really delayed. But they're working now. Yeah. We're going to go for a break because we're halfway through, which is really good because it means now that all that ink, even though it dries almost instantly, it's just going to have a few minutes to sort of settle down and dry on all those pieces. Now I'm going to come in with one final layer of dark green, really make those that rendering stand out. And then I can start painting on some of that dark grey into some of those ribbed areas. And hopefully we'll see some real contrast in there. That'll be fun, won't it? And then lots of varnishing, putting it all back together again. Yeah, and hopefully I'll just be a couple of weeks on the show painting that. I'm just going to go quickly over some of these comments that are going in there, because I really like the topic of like mental health and mental awareness. I think it's really it's really in the common, in the global commons of conversation. If you want to improve your mental health, get to the gym, clear your head of gossip, and learn to enjoy your own company. Well said, sir. Warhammer painting will help with the last one. Yeah, cool. Painting for me as an opportunity to switch off my brain and tickle paint over plastic. If I got better, so be it. Lovely. Customer just sent me the Sarissa Mount High Hiei. But I don't know that word, but a temple set to do up. It's huge and it looks quite complicated. Looks like 20 sheets of laser cut bits and bobs. Fantastic. Foxhole says it is beneficial to block the people from your channel who want to protect the Warhammer community from young men seeking escapism and mentorship. Is there another space that's for men? Maybe. See if you can find them. There's probably loads of people out there. If you want children-friendly things, if you want stuff that's just for adults, if you want to find that little social group that fits your niche, there's probably loads of channels and groups and things out there as well. Just a note, if you don't have a mental health condition, if you're having a bad time, you're just someone that bad things have happened to, so it's reversible. I agree. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to go and grab myself 10. And then I'm going to come back with a grown-up juice and enjoy the rest of the show. So I'll see you guys in 10 minutes. In the meantime, go get yourself a cup of tea, change your paint water. See you in a minute. Bye-bye. Welcome back. Hope you had a good break. I went and grabbed myself a little grown-up juice. I went and got myself a 43 liquor. Can't have too much of it because it's super sweet and I prefer it undiluted. Drink responsibly, guys. But here's to the weekend. Hope you had a lovely week. Hope you've had a lovely couple of weeks because I wasn't here last week. And I hope you have a lovely couple of days ahead of you. So cheers to the weekend, guys. Yum, yum, yum. Cool. Anyway, if you're new here, please do consider subscribing to the show, because it's the subscriptions that make it grow. It's a place for you as a community to come together, paint your stuff together, sharing the passion and the company of others for the hobby that we all do and share in. If you like what we're doing here, guys, really, God, just took my breath away. If you like what we do, please do subscribe, give us a thumbs up, share it amongst your friends, share it on your Facebook page, make a little poster, take it to school, take it to work, do whatever it is you want to do. Bring some people in if you want to bring your friends, your family, whatever. You're welcome to bring anybody you like and just get things painted. Maybe just coming along for the chit chat. That's also fine too. If you're working on something this evening, that has really made me trip over my words. If you're working on something this evening, take a photo, tell us all about it, stick it up on Facebook, because we're here, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and Discord, and you can share pictures on everything if you like. I'd love to see that. That'd be great, because I genuinely am motivated and inspired by the stuff that you guys do, and you guys keep me painting. So yeah, subscribe. Thanks very much. Do you know what? Let's go straight to the workbench because I'm having a productive day so far. Here we go. Make sure that all my dials and bits and pieces are all working there. Lovely. I'm just going to increase the size of my screen because it's all gone small. Oop, there we go. Cool. I have been spraying the white highlight areas on all of this Space Marine, and now all I'm going to do is just go over with a nice fine misting of the dark green, and hopefully that should show up as a nice bit of highlighting. And then I can get on with some of the contrasting colours on there as well. I'm going to pop the torso piece over there, and I'm going to start in the same order that I worked on a minute ago. I am going to get out my piece of painting paper again because I'm going to be spraying some green this time. Let's put that over there. There we go. Lovely. I've been shaking this paint, just kind of mixing it up just on the side over here. Back on the liquor, Danny. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I've put on a bit of weight over the winter. Christmas, obviously, but also because I was made redundant, so I wasn't working over the winter until I picked up the new job that I've been working in for about 5 weeks now. Having a great time, by the way. Absolutely love it. It's very different, but very similar at the same time. Anyway, yeah, put on a lot of weight. Don't fit into my old shirt that I used to wear on the show, hence the hoodie. And yeah, I need to stop eating so much rubbish, and I probably need to stop drinking alcohol for a little bit. I don't drink that much. I haven't been drunk for a long time. I don't drink to excess ever. Haven't done since I was, you know, exploring the worlds of alcohol when I was a young man. But, you know, when you consider all of your bad habits all together, they all add up somewhere along the line, don't they? So probably in a little while, I'm going to go for about 3 months of abstaining from bad foods and alcohol. So yeah, on a bit of a health diet, perhaps. See what happens. See if it improves my health a little bit. See if I lose a few pounds around the waist, in a healthy way, of course. Okay, back to the first shoulder pad. Here we go. We can see that there's some white on there. If I just move the paper out again so the lighting works, you can see that there's all that white on there, and that should turn out as nice bright green on there. Because I feathered the edges of that white, it should show up as a nice bit of soft highlight. So, bit of a flow test. Lovely. Just basically looking to just dull that white out. Some green. That's worked quite well. What we're going to see, of course, Hello! Due to technical issues, Danny will be using the flashcards. Yeah. My microphone started to do this a lot lately, hasn't it? It has a better sound quality to it, which is why I prefer to use it, and it makes my voice sound a little bit bassy, less tinny, basically. But it's starting to fail on me quite a lot, and it is only a USB mic. It is a cheap microphone. It just sounds better than this one. I'm really sorry that it keeps on failing me. Maybe it's time to get a better mic. I've had some technical advice from people in the community, and have like suggested to me basically shopping lists of equipment to get. You know, it's just time and money and setup, isn't it? So yeah, I hear you guys. Just maybe not yet. Maybe I'll just go back to using the headset mic. My apologies anyway. So what I was basically saying is that you can see the white on this one here. You can see that there's some nice highlights in there. You can see the white is actually on the emblem there. Probably emblem's a better word than whatever it was I was using earlier on. Can't remember what it was now. This icon. Even though this is an airbrush paint, and it's kind of formulated to go straight from bottle to the airbrush, it's behaving like it could do with a little bit of thinner in there. So this batch for now, I'm going to keep it as it is. In the next one, I am going to probably put a bit of thinner in there because it's just behaving a little lumpy. That's probably the best way I can describe it. I can feel it going through the air chamber, almost like you can feel how a car is behaving through your feet on the pedals. You know, it's an extension of your body. I can feel it in that way, and it just feels. Oh no! I just threw all my pieces all over the floor. Classic, broke a stick there. That happens a lot. Great, cool. Well, I've got my two shoulder pads done. Let's go to this piece here. We'll do the queese and the cod piece there. Lovely, lovely. And now what we've got here is a really nice graded highlight right down the center of that piece there. It's a little bit bright in the middle, so I'm just going to give it a couple more layers of green, and hopefully that'll blend away quite nicely. Right. What other pieces have I got on the floor here? Oh yeah, I've got the helmet. Here we go. This should look quite nice. You can see here that that's actually looking really quite white on the front. So that is going to go really nice and bright green. Because it's, even though there's no face, it's a helmeted head. It is still the face of this character, and it should have a lot of focus brought to it. So it should be really nice and shiny and standy outy, and have some really nice looking eye lenses later on. Maybe a bit of glow effects if I'm feeling fancy. That's looking quite nice, isn't it? Yes. Excellent. Let's go to the legs. I will try my best with this leg here. I keep on snapping the sticks off in the legs. It's what can you do, eh? I'm going to give him a quick dust off because he has just touched the carpet. My little polystyrene block just fell over because there was lots of heavy things sticking out all over him. Yeah, it was inevitable really. I should have had it on the table here with me, but what can you do, eh? Getting a bit of a build up inside the just on the neat tip there, so I'm just gonna get that bit of cleaner on the end of that cotton bud there and just wipe it off. You can see all that build up on there. Let's see those little dots. That's just paint that was starting to dry. Yeah, that's working a bit smoother. Still got paint in the chamber? Yeah, there we go. Now I'm out of paint. So, okie dokie, let's just get a little mixing brush. Here we go, make sure it's nice and clean. It is. I'm going to get some thinner and I'm going to add, I'm going to do like a 4:1. So, shake that up. Probably going to put about 8 drops in here because I want it to last. I still got to get it through all the other pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we are. Lovely. And then just 2 of these, 2 drops of this. 1, 2. There is a part of me that wants to put some airbrush flow improver in there. Can't speak today. But I'm just going to see how this behaves first. And I can always drop a drop of that in there. I do like flow improver. There we go. Let's see how that behaves. Okay, that seems to be good. This is looking great. It's actually looking like quite rendered, quite highlighted, quite shaded, without it being too much. It's actually looking really cool. Pull that away so the lighting actually works. That's a really nice effect, and I'm really happy with that. I couldn't have planned that better, actually. That's, yeah, really quite exciting. For such a simple effect, so for such a simple technique I'm making up as I go along, that's working for me. Again, that you can see all the white here. All of that is going to turn into highlighted green. There's a tiny dusting of it on the back here. Most of it's down the front and on the top of this knee piece here. Thigh, bit of the greave in the sabaton. Sabaton being the word for armoured shoe, essentially. Here we go. Yeah, that little bit of thinner is really making a difference. I'm having a great evening. Keep rolling a nat 1 for my dexterity tests there. Was that McFarlane Marine for brother? Give me a jump pack. Yes, yeah, it was. Yeah, struggling to hold things today. Clearly. Just going to hit that with a little bit of air, just to dry it out quickly, because this one's a little bit, I don't know, brighter than the other one, and I want to apply a little bit more green to it, just to darken it down a little bit, because it just stands out a little bit too much. Dexter Mundo says stuff. Inside joke, that. It's coming back some now, isn't it? Dexter Mundo. Yeah, there we go. Dial that down a little bit. Feather in the edges. Again, a bit of air on it. Just help agitate and dry that paint layer. Cool. I think I'm going to risk trying to put this back on the plinth. There's a snap stick there. Shredded. I don't even know where everything went on here now. Was it maybe here? Yeah, that looks good. We'll do that. Pop that back over there then. Arm number 1. Again, you can see the dark green arm on the underside. On the top side here, it is a pasting of snowy white. Again, been on the floor. Lush. As it's a Dark Angel, will it have splinters from sitting on the fence? I feel that that's a bit of a derisive comment. That is gonna attract some sensationalism. So I'm gonna stay well clear of that, I'm afraid. Knowing that there's at least one hardcore Dark Angels fan in the live chat, and I don't know enough to really make a comment. do have to make sure that I get a good covering over the top of that white, because if I miss even a little bit or it doesn't go on strong enough, it still stands out as white, and then that kind of ruins the effect, it ruins the illusion. Staff says, up at Recon, a bunch of guys had a McFarlane scale rhino and squads. I didn't see that. Why didn't I see that? I think he's making it up, personally. There have been some people on online who've been playing actual games of Warhammer 40,000 in the McFarlane Space Marine scale. Kudos. I don't know how they've been doing the scenery with that, but kudos nonetheless. Okay. Last piece, I think. No, I've still got the torso to go. Here's the second arm. Again, it's been on the floor, so a quick dusting. Excuse me. Gap in that armour there, that's what I was talking about earlier on, isn't it? Can you see that in there? I have to push the joint a little bit close. Later on I'll just get in there with a bit of black paint on a brush. One more piece to go. That is the torso. And that all rhymes. how's the Bovril rum? Okay, so just in case there's any dust on it, just blow that off with the airbrush, but it hasn't touched the floor, this one. There's a little hair there. I did a tiny amount of white dusting on the back of this one just to kind of enhance the colour a little bit, but not to really do any kind of pre-shading. It's one of those areas where the green almost looked black, so I thought I'd just address that by bringing the colour out a little bit. Sounds like a northern drink. Bovril rum. Do you know what? Don't try it. Don't knock it until you try it. Don't try it until you've knocked it. I've knocked it, never going to try it. There we go. John, if you're watching, maybe a Marmite rum? Ah, right before I finished it, I'd gone and run out. Nightmare. Okay, I'm just going to grin and bear the fact that undiluted is going to be a little bit bitey. So I'm just going to put one drop, go on, in you go, of paint in there. Feed that through. There it is. Just to finish off this piece. Oh man. Oh, it's just pushing me through a hoop. I'll put in 2 drops then. 2 drops, so I'm going to leave the top off of the paint so in case I have to go back to it. What's that looking like? Do you all like that? I quite like it. It shows it's dark, it shows it's green, it looks like it's been pre-shaded. It looks quite good if you want my opinion. I like it. Righto, well, let's purge that. There we go. I'm just going to flush this through. Going to turn off the compressor because I don't need any more air through that really. Just going to clean out the airbrush a minute, and then it's time to move over to hand brushing. And I'm going to start marking in where the grey's going to go. That's exciting. Development already. Progress. How is your stuff going this evening? If you're working on a project, are you having any successes? Are you having any tough times? Anything you want to share? Get off your chest? Do you want to celebrate a victory, a little win this evening? Or is it just a bit of a slog? Because that's what the show's really all about, isn't it? It's just kind of getting through the harder stuff. Because there's always like a, part of the project just kind of drags on. Most of my projects entirely are the draggy bit. What can you do? One more bit of water there. Go on. That is a strong old spirit I just put in my mouth. Why? Lovely. Right, let's pop that over there. We'll get rid of this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It can go over there. Cool. Am I gonna stay with this piece? Because it's got the biggest, boldest parts on there to paint in the grey. I think I might. Rightio. Where's my grey? What have I done with it? Honestly, what have I done with it? Oh, there it is. Corvus Black. What is going on with my grip today? Give it a bit of a shake for what it's worth. Excellent. I'm going to scoop out a big dollop of that and I'm going to get it in the palette straight away. And then I'm going to maybe add a touch of thinner or something to it so it flows well. Maybe a bit of water. Break it down a little bit and just start getting it onto all of these areas. I'm going to call it the black carapace. I don't think it's supposed to be the black carapace. I've heard people refer to it as that before. In the Space Marine lore, the black carapace is a device, like an artificial organ that is supplanted beneath the skin, the epidermis of a Space Marine, and it cybernetically, biologically connects with all of their organs in their physique, if that's the right word to use. You know what I mean. And it allows the power armor to connect into it, so that they become cybernetic with their armor essentially. It can kind of process bio data and things like that. Are they poisoned, injured? Do they need stims, etc., etc.? And it works with their movements. But often this kind of gets referred to as the black carapace. If I call it that, and you're a lore nerd like me, soz, it's just easier to talk about, isn't it? So there we go. But it's just the under armor, really. Pick up a couple of big scoops. That. Now I could add some water into it, but I think I'm just going to go with a bit thinner. Maybe a bit of flow improver. I like flow improver. It's supposed to be for the airbrush, but it works a treat with the brush as well.
I don't know what it does. Obviously we are diluting the paint down, so it has a certain thinning property, but it's not a thinner, and it just seems to make the paint a little silkier. It just flows better. Maybe it's a slight retarder as well, so I've got a separate paint retarder. That's just for the brush, really. That's very gelatinous. It is a gel that you add into the paint, and it just slows the drying time down. Maybe the flow improver does that as well. It stops it adhering and drying to the inside parts of the airbrush, so it just flows better. Yeah, if anybody knows, tell me, because I'm genuinely interested. I'm going to go to a Kolinsky brush. There's some people earlier on talking about their favourite types of brushes in the live chat. I like a sable brush. I really do like a sable brush. I'm not vegan, I'm a vegetarian, but I don't believe in animal cruelty. I don't know how these brushes are made. I know what they're made from, but I don't know if it harms the animals or if it is a byproduct of a culling or even food sources of meat. But as I'm a vegetarian, not a vegan, I don't need to know. So the less I know, the better. If I was a vegan, of course, it'd be a part of my lifestyle, and I'd be like, nope, not going to use that, and that's fine. But I just don't eat animals, and of course I don't believe in cruelty. Obviously. Okay, so I'm going to paint all of these bits here. So I'm just going to start in the open and work out towards the edges there. And I'm just going to have a good old look and see what it looks like, really. Now I don't want it to be black. Black would be too contrasting, and I can't shade down with that. So if I was to put in like an oil wash, a panel liner in there, I can't go any darker than a black. I know there are different types of blacks, etc. So I thought I'd go with a really dark grey, and that might make it look a little bit smarter as well. Black can be too much sometimes. Grey's a really nice colour when you start getting used to it. And then of course I can always panel line down to a black, and I might use an oil wash for that. Starting to get into oil washing lately. Already that's starting to look really nice. Like I said earlier on, do you remember breaking up the monotony of the base colour? Making sure that I do work the paint into all those recesses, even though I intend to get in there with a wash later. Just good practice in it, if anything. Concentration voice there. they just shave the horse, they don't kill it first. Ethically sourced. I think sable is squirrel, isn't it? Or a type of squirrel. Maybe there's like a paintbrush farm somewhere where they just have a big farm full of squirrels, but they're all bold. Do they train them to make them, or are they paid with money on nuts? It comes natural to them, they've evolved. Coffee, if you've not seen the cartoons. Isn't sable a type of weasel? Oh, I don't know. I just thought it was squirrel. I could be wrong. It could be any animal. It could be polar bear for all I know. But now I'm talking about it, now I want to know, right? That's a topic of discussion for the Discord later on. It's looking really cool. I am going to compare this grey with another grey. I might use Eshin grey, which I think is slightly lighter than this one, just to see how it stands out, how it compares. And of course, if I was to do this side in Corvus Black, do this side in Eshin grey, and I prefer one or the other, then I just get, I just go over it, essentially. Danny, if you want a polar bear brush, you can bloody well get there yourself. Yeah, cool. I'll Brian Blessed it. Oh, bloody polar bear's going to attack me in my tent. He punched a polar bear in the nose and survived to tell the tale. Yeah. Good old Brian Blessed. Oh, it's a little bit tricky just to get in. I knew I should have taken this piece out. I thought I'd leave it in there. I thought I'd be good enough and dexterous enough to get in there, but it's actually really quite difficult. But fortunately, it's quite a big model, so I can handle it quite well and take that brush right up to the edges of those ribs. I don't know what else to call them. Ribs? Fluting, I suppose you could call it that. We are a few minutes now from the end of the show. It's been really quite nice to get back in the studio and get painting again. I've missed it last week. Gonna give it a bit of a twist, can I? Ah, look at that, there we go. Lovely. Going to add a little bit of water to my brush because I think I forgot to do that right at the beginning. Always dampen the bristles of your brush, even if you're dry brushing. Just helps the paint transfer from one to the other. I think I'm being a perfectionist again. I think I just need to do a close enough job. Don't rush it. I think I need to do a close enough job and just move away. Okay, that's looking alright. Let's twist that back around and twist it the other way. There we go. Now I can get into the other side there. Again, dampen the bristles of my brush down. Struggling. Come on, get the paint in there now. Looks quite smart though, doesn't it? I quite like that. Of course, I do need to just check the other colour grey and just make sure that looks alright. Leave that there for a second. Of course, I did get a big dollop of that paint out, so it's just going to have to sit there, I'm afraid. Where's my Eshin? Eshin grey. That's not Eshin. That's not Eshin. Ah, where's my Eshin grey? Where are you? Ah, there it is. That's it, isn't it? Eshin grey. Lovely. Cool. So you can see, look, tons lighter, tons lighter. Is it going to be too bright? I don't know. Maybe that could be a good highlight colour. I could do like a really thin line across all of the ribs on there. Couldn't I? Do you know what? I'm going to stay with the original plan. I'm not going to complicate things. Stop it. Look at me. Developing as a painter. I am just going to give my brush a good old dampen up there. There we go. Love that. Just realised that I'm literally doing the opposite of my motto, which is I'm getting some grey on my colour. I'll be very careful here. I've noticed that so this panel here, right on the edge, I wonder if you can see it. There is a tiny little white chip just there. And that is where the inside edge, I think, has touched the side of that when I twisted it the other direction to get the other side there. So clearly I need to be very, very gentle in how I move things around. Just like Crumbs was saying earlier on, definitely need some protective layering with like varnishes and stuff like that before I do anything like super duper with it. Because even handling it and just, you know, touching it against other parts of itself is going to cause it some damage. And if it's going to damage the bits that have been airbrushed, because they were airbrushed, it's going to be very hard to repair them and make them look the same and blend it in. Now a tiny little bit like that, not really overly fussed about it, because I could probably hide it in some weathering, you know. I think it's looking really cool. I'm super chill right now, really enjoying myself. Really got into the calm painting mood. Just gonna get this last little bit here finished up, and I think we're done for the evening, right? Bit of water in the bristles. Let's make that paint flow a little bit. It's quite thick. GW paints are quite thick. Not all of them, obviously. Some of them are washes. It's a base paint as well, so it's going to be thick, isn't it? Yeah. I think layer paints are going to be just like a little bit more translucent. Not completely, but they're going to be a little bit thinner in their consistency, I believe, that of a base paint. I think that's where we leave that little bit today. I'll just put my thumb right in that back bit there. I'm just going to make sure there's no thumbprint in there. There is a thumbprint in it. Let's just brush that out. Lovely. Excellent. It's a subtle effect, but it has started to break down the amount of green that's on there. And I'm going to probably do a tiny amount of highlighting on these bits later on, and then put some panel washing in there, some panel line washes, to really make them stand out, make them pop a little bit. Now I don't think that highlight colour should be as bright as the Eshin, but maybe it's a 50-50 between the Corvus and the Eshin layer. That's my thoughts on that. But that is definitely the colour that I'm happy with. Black would have been the wrong choice. And it just makes it stand out against the greens. And of course I've got lots of other places on there to do as well. So on here I've got to do like the neck piece there. I don't know about the collar on the inside. I think I might So you've got all these kind of circles inside here. I think that this piece here should be green, and I think that inner piece and that piece there should also be green. But as soon as you get like the rib bits that are going up, I think that should all be grey. We've also got these pieces here, which I'm not entirely sure what to do with those either. I could do them silver. It feels like a bit of a silly thing to do. I might make that grey as well. Keep the colour scheme simple. I think this is supposed to be some sort of like strap or even power and pipes and things that come from the backpack that lock in there. Also got a little bit here as well. So I think I'm going to do it all grey. I'm going to try and limit myself on the silvers and keep that to the weapon and maybe the iconography that is on him as well. Anyway, look, I'm done here. Just going to wash up my paints. Sorry, wash up my brush. And then call it a night. I am going to be going over to Discord after the show, so if you want to come and catch me, because it's been a couple of weeks since we've all caught up, isn't it? So if you want to meet up, you can come and find me over there. Of course, don't forget, if you want to subscribe to the show, please do, because it is literally you that makes the show what it is, makes it as big as it is, makes it as fun as it is and enjoyable. You are the reason we all come together, so thanks very much. But if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, go and tell a friend, bring a friend along. If you think you know someone who might benefit from the community, bring them along, or just stick it up on your Facebook page or whatever. You know, get the word of EZ8 out there, and let's make the community even bigger. If you haven't already, please give the video a thumbs up because it helps spread the word. It gets the algorithm working in our favour. All hail the algorithm. And if you're chatting away in a live chat, or if you're leaving comments later on, all of those sorts of things all affect the algorithm as well. And that's just kind of how we get that name out there. But the community is growing. It's growing naturally. It's growing at the right rate because it's the right people coming along. I get that a 2-hour show isn't for everybody, but it's not really about me doing a show and you watching. It's about you painting along, making friends and stuff along the way, sharing photos of your stuff, of course, on Facebook or on Discord. All links to all of our platforms, including Instagram, are all down there with a host of other links. Please go and check them out because there's some superb, wonderful people out there, some lovely stuff out there, and it definitely deserves your attention and your love as well. And that's going to be it for me this week. And thank you so much again to everybody who reached out to me and was just patient in general with me having to cancel last week. I really appreciated that. I really felt the love, so thank you very much. And I do intend to be here next week, but I know that my work patterns are starting to get a little bit more demanding and they're shifting around a little bit, so if I do need to kind of postpone or shift things around a little bit, I will let you know. I'll let you know through YouTube and through Facebook, so you can keep up with me there. So don't forget to take some photos of your stuff, share it with everybody, and until next week, stay safe, be kind, keep on painting, and I'll see you soon. Take care now. Bye bye. I've had a little bit of fun this evening. Go me.